Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. You can see this bearing block here. I've been having to drill these out. The size of the rope that the ship model provides is almost exactly the same diameter as the hole from the factory. So I'm cutting the pieces longer than I need. I'm holding this bearing block in the pliers, and then I'm drilling it out in the bottom two holes, and I flip it over because the grip of the pliers is not on the tip. It's near the middle part here where it grabs it. But I want to drill that out without splitting it or tearing the end up. Now you can see a little tear out on the very end there, but it's not destroyed like this one is. The end of it is ripped open. Now, I could salvage that and use it if I had to, but it takes a little bit of patience to make sure we get those opened up so we can get our rope through there. And I'm ahead of time putting a liberal amount of super glue on there and letting it set up. And then I'm coming back, because that end is fat, after that super glue sets up, cutting that off a little bit at a 45-degree angle. Because not only is it hard to get this rope through the blocks, but it's also hard to get them through them little glass beads that are in here. And they're just barely open enough. So once I get these prepped, and I know that I'm going to be able to get, even sometimes I'll have to take the pliers and mash them a little bit after the glue dries to get this end smooth enough to go through the block and the bearings, little glass beads. So now that I got those ready, close to ready, I've got my yard arm marked in the center, and then 10 millimeters out from the center on each side. And I'm going to tie one side of my bearing at that offset from the center, because the mast arm is going to go in the middle, and I want the bearing to grab to start with over here and then tie off when I get it on the mast over here. So got all the rest of the blocks on this sail tied off. I got a couple lifting ropes to add, and then we'll do some pre-rigging ahead of time before we take this sail over to the ship. We'll do rigging on the ship and on here on the sail, so we don't have to pull any rigging thread off of the reels. Once we get ready to install this, we'll just be running that rigging thread through the blocks and tying it off in all the different locations. And all that prep work takes a little time before we get ready to install it. So I'm going to set the camera up in closed caption mode and see if we can install this bearing. Okay, so just like last week, once again we repeat and rinse and repeat. We got that lifting ropes on. There's 2 of those on the top. They'll go through some blocks up on under the side of the top crow's nest, back down to the baling pins on the deck. Then we got the 2 corners ready. It starts up here and ties off, goes down through the corner block and up to the second block near the end of the yard, and then a long piece long enough to reach all the way down to the deck for a baling pin. We did that on both sides. So now the sail is ready to install, and all the rigging is done on the sail itself. So now we're going to do the rigging on the ship, and there's 4 pages, I think, of photographs that we're going to prep ready and get all the rigging up. In this area here, so the sail's ready to mount. We're going to tie on a couple on this eyelet there, and we're going to tie on, let's see, yeah, like these are for the directional control of the yard. We'll probably have so it theoretically would come from this side. We'll have to look at our plans real close now. See, we've got a tie-off point for the directional control on this main mast over here. Maybe that's what they're going to do. There'll be a tie-off here that goes out for the directional control of the yard, so you can turn the yard to be on this side, but be able to turn that yard almost 85, 90 degrees, but it probably won't go 90, but it will go at least 75 degrees maybe. And they want to catch the wind from the side. So let me very carefully inspect these photographs and verify each one individually, and get those run ahead of time, so it's going to be a lot easier to install the sail and run all those one at a time. Turn the ship around and do all the ones on the other side one at a time until we get them all down to a baling pin and tied off. Okay, so we got the 2 lifting ropes going up through a block and then down to a baling pin at the base of the mast. Now these 2 stabilizers that are out here on the end, yeah, they start up there, and they're going to go through a block on the very end of the yard. And then through another block Well, let's use my little cheater tool. This is for putting beads on. So I can zoom into that area. Make sure we don't have any tangles here. And then we're going to go through this one. Other than feeding these through the blocks, the only other thing is tying them off down below. And I try to get 2 or 3 of them down there before I mess with that. So that little cheater pin works great for pushing through the block and then getting your rope in there. So now it's just a matter of feeding this down through all these crow's nests. And we got to stay clear of the shrouds and the rat lines. I'm going to stay outside of the bearing. I try to stuff that rope a couple times down through the crow's nest so I can see it coming out the bottom. And then I got to reach in there and grab it. Get all the slack out. So now let's set up down here on the railing and tie this off. So you can see I got a baling pin there. This rope is on the wrong side. Let me fix that. Okay, now I got my rope over there, but all these other ropes are in the way. Getting your hand in there. So get that hooked around the bottom of the pin and then inspect. Make sure that the top above me is the right amount of slack or tension. And then try to get 2 wraps on this. and there's no easy way I've got a real long pair of tweezers because where my right hand is, it's hard to reach in here. I'm going to trap with the other tweezers and get that wrap on there. So now I've got the wrap on there. I need to make a loop. Before I make a loop, let's take our reverse tweezers and capture that so it can't get loose. Now we got to make a loop. Almost got too much slack here. So there's a loop there. Turn that loop upside down. Get that to stay on the pin. Guess they call that a half hitch. Well, that didn't work. Let's try this again. With all these ropes coming down, this is usually the, once you get everything threaded through on top, this is usually the trickiest part. See that little loop there? Yep, I gotta use them other tweezers. Gotta trap it again. And we got to pay attention how we create this loop here. There it is. That's what we want. And then turn that upside down over that pin. Now let's grab it and pull our tweezers out. There we go. We got her that time. That's the easiest knot I've found. Gee whiz, I definitely can't reach in there with my right hand. Not this close. That's the easiest way I've found to get that knot tied. Now for the one on this side, which is the same job up here, you see I'm pulling on that block there. We just did the one on the other side, and I got the rope run down for the one on this side, and I got a spare baling pin there ready to go. So now we just got to tie this one off too. Then we'll work on these out here next. These long black ones. But with the lifting ropes done, the bearing tied, and these two stabilizers done, then the yard is held up in place at the right spot. Now it's just for steering and furling and all the other ropes. So we got 2, 4, 6. Yeah, we got 6 more to go, because there's 2 down here after we get these furling ones done, and that'll use this block and that other block over here on the main mast mainsail. So let's get this one tied off, and then we'll go on to the steering directional control compared to where the wind's blowing. Okay, so we got them all run. Only got 2 sails left, and got some rat lines right here to do before I put the sail on. Yeah, and then there's another one here. Well, we got a mizzen mast topsail and a main mast topsail to do. And I think what I'm going to try to do is both of them at the same time. Might be biting off more than I can chew, but thinking there's going to be a little bit less rigging on these small ones. I don't know until I make them up. So anyway, we've used up those extra pulleys that are on the main mast main yard. All of them are accounted for now. And you can see we have an extra pulley here on the end and near the middle on both sides, and that'll be for the topsail there. And we got all our lines tied off on the bailing pins on both sides, and 2 of them went down here, 2 of them went to the railing, and 3 of them went to the side of the ship. So next week got those and those. Yeah, next week we do these topsails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks, no bearing, just a rope. So 8 blocks, that's going to be a lot less. These other big sails got like 10 and 12 blocks. And we'll get those, or going to have at least 6 or 8 lines coming down. So we'll have 16 after we do both sails, I think. And that will help fill up that one rack near the back of the ship. So after we get those last 2 sails done, we're going to put some cannons in. Yeah, fill up them holes on the side. And then I think we got to do cannon doors or gun port doors. Yep. And there's going to be a whole bunch of those. And they are going to be very tedious. We got little hinge brackets and a little decoration for each door. And it looks like each door gets an edge treatment and a face painting with some planking. Oh my gosh. And then, oh, to make it even worse, we got to have a little wire hook on there to hold the door open and drill holes in the side of the ship. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to look at that right now. Because there's a whole bunch of doors all the way down there on both sides. Well, thanks for watching.